Hi there, we have completed till the here. We have uploaded our code into the code commit repository. Now we need to know some facts that we need to make sure that our project includes these two files appspec.yml and buildspec.yml and the docker file. Docker file and appspec.yml, buildspec.yml is needed for code pipeline. Okay, so to first start, before starting with this deployment, we first need to check some things. What is it? First, be sure in pom.xml you have added the Spring Boot actuator. If you don't have the Spring Boot actuator, you make sure that you have your defined health check function for your project. Otherwise, in my case, Spring Boot, when I upload the Spring Boot on the system, and when we going to make work with load balancer, the health checks of the load balancer will fail. We will see what is the consequences. And now here in the application.properties file, where src main resources application.properties file, you make sure you have added this context path. If you don't added this context path, then we cannot deploy it by the path into the load balancer. So make sure you have applied this. Okay, now we have this appspec.yml or the buildspec.yml. Now to make this appspec.yml understand, this is a task definition we need to give, and this is a container name, and this is a container port. Container port is that port where in which port your application is running. Means if you run your application, which port does your application takes to run, that you should mention here, and here you should name the container name. So let's first, for to get this container name task definition, we first create a task definition. Without wasting any time, let's create a task definition. Go to the AWS console, type ECS Elastic Container Service, click on it, go there, first create a new cluster. You need to create just one cluster for unit for all that for one project deployment. You don't need to create multiple clusters. Okay, first be sure that. So click on next step, give a cluster name, YouTube AWS. So click on create and cluster is created. View cluster. So this is, see, if you click on cluster, you can see this YouTube AWS. You can deploy multiple services in this AWS cluster. Okay, so to go with this thing, we need to first create the task definition. Let's create a task definition. So create a task definition is simple. Just came here, this is authorization service. You can give any name as per your project. Task role, select this task role. It is optional. If you won't find this ECS task execution, just put it blank, it will work, don't worry. Just go down, select task size, always select least until and unless you need it. More, add container, give a container name, authorization service, and give the same name here, same name. Okay, now you need to give a repository URI. To create a repository URI, what you need to do, you need to just go to the AWS. Okay, you need to just go to the AWS, type ECR repository is just as simple as, like, it is same as the Docker repository or Docker hub. It's a Docker hub. You can say it's a Docker hub for AWS. We will click on repositories, create repositories. We will go with private repository. So let's start with authorization service. And we will go for create a repository. Yeah, that's the thing, we just created a repository. Now what we need to do, we need to copy this URI. Just copy it, go here, paste it here, and put colon latest, and come down, put port mapping 80, and what is that one, this one 8088. It is that port in which you are running your application on localhost. Also you give a localhost 8080 slash the rest of the part of your head of your URL to running an API. So that port you need to give here. So just click on add, it will add. Okay, now click on create. See, authorization service succeeded. Filters. Yeah, now we have give the container name here. You can see we have give the container name, port also there, but where do we find this task definition? That is important. So where do we find it? We just go to that back AWS, click on JSON, go down, see task definition ARN, just copy this, Control C and paste it here. And here we are done with the appspec.yml. Now we need to make some changes in buildspec.yml. What are the changes? Let's do that. Go to the buildspec.yml. Now we what need to do, we need to change these two lines 11 and 12. So just go there, go to the ECR, copy it, paste it here, paste it here, this line. Now for this 11th line we need to go back, click on this, click on view push commands, copy it, copy the first line, go there, just replace it with it, Control V, Control save. Yeah, we are done and we are ready to deploy our application. So now what we need to do, we have made some changes, so we need to repush it. First pull it, now commit it, ready to deploy, commit. Now push it, push, successful. Now it's time to deploy the system. First, to deploy the system, first we will go to here, to open a new tab, go here, go to EC2, we will create a load balancer. It will need it because we won't like to use the IPs for calling our APIs. We need to have some decent DNS. So we will going to create for load balancer, create an application load balancer, click, give this a name whatever you want, like something anything, authorization YouTube, that's it. Just click on this. Now we need to create a security group, click on create a new security group, give this a name YouTube SG security group, YouTube exam habit, inbound rules, give this as HTTP custom IPv4, outbound rules also change to HTTP custom IPv4, create security group, and it's been created. Great. Now go here, click on YouTube security group, keep the default as is, don't do anything, just add your security group. Now we need to create one target group. So if you don't know what is security group, wait for target group, then wait for my videos. I will make the detailed video on these two things, security group and target group. We need to create one target group, one default target group. Create target group, click on IP addresses, prepare target group name, YouTube default dash tg. Okay, that's it. Next. Yeah, next, create target group. It's created. Now go to the load balancer, click this little, see it's showing target group is there. Now we are going to create load balancer, so it's created. Now this video is getting long, I am stopping here. We will proceed with the deployment in the next video. Till then, bye bye and keep learning.